is the green. Well, that was one too, but the green is the one we have.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for coming today. Welcome to Horticulture Corner. Get show ready. Who's here is going to enter their plants in the Horticulture Show? Raise both hands and your feet. Good. My name is Denise Reagan. I am the Executive Director of the Garden Club of Jacksonville. Checking you in today was Corinne Lightfoot, our Marketing and Membership Manager. I want to thank all of you who are members. If you're a member, can you raise your hand? And then you could just take it and pat your back. Yeah, great job. Thank you for being members. We love all of our members, 3 of our really exemplary ones up here. Yeah, so if you're not a member, please talk to one of these members who raised their hands, or me or Corinne. We would love to talk to you about all the great benefits of membership. We also have, I was trying to think, no, we don't. Sorry, moving on. Want to talk to you a little bit about sponsorship. So you may not know, but the Garden Club does dozens of programs throughout the year, usually in the 55 to 60 programs a year. I know that's a lot, but we have so many great quality programs, and maybe you know somebody who would like to be a sponsor of one of these programs. It could be an organization, it could be a business, it could be an individual. And there's lots of different sponsorship levels that basically fit for lots of budgets. It's a great way to reach people who care deeply about Jacksonville and making it a beautiful, better place to live. So if you're interested in sponsorship, please go to our website. You can check it out at the gardenclubjacks.org/sponsor, or you can see me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. All right, we have a couple of programs coming up, including next month. I can't believe it's already here. Last year, we had our first Community Garden Summit. And we're having our second one this year, October 22nd. The Garden Club of Jacksonville wants to welcome anybody who has got a current community garden, or is interested in starting a community garden, or just wants to know more about gardening and particularly growing vegetables and anything edible. So we're doing this Community Garden Summit. We're going to have dozens of partners who are going to be here. They'll each have tables that you can go visit and learn more about them. They'll have many things to sell, so you can probably eat the fruits of your visitation. There will also be a vendor that has like farm fresh food, so you can have a little meal while you're here. And you'll learn more about community gardens, the pitfalls and the things to watch out for, but also the great benefits of them. And of course, get some great gardening tips. So we hope that you will join us on October 22nd. We have our volunteer day coming up, September 21st. So we do about 4 or 5 of these a year, and they're usually timed to the different seasons. So September 21st, we're going to have a day of gardening of all kinds, weeding, trimming, planting, all the stuff. We have so many plants that we're going to be putting in the ground, so we need lots of hands to make small work. So we depend on volunteers to help us maintain the grounds. We do have, a landscaper, but there's a lot more to do than a landscaper can handle. And plus, it's a great way to get your hands in the dirt, particularly if you don't have a yard at home. You just want to get some, sweat equity, you might say. So September 21st, that starts at 8:30 a.m. And then the next big thing is our open house. This is what we'll be preparing for. That's what all the new plants will be helping spiff us up for. It's October 3rd. It's our annual open house. We open our doors and have some festive drinks this year. Plenty, which is a restaurant that's just down the street, but they also do a lot of catering, is going to be doing the food for us. And we'll have some live music, and you can stroll the grounds and learn all about how Garden Club Jacks can be a part of your life. It's a great event. It's really fun to meet members of the community and hang out and get involved. So hopefully you will join us on October 3rd. All right, now I'd like to introduce our great panel of speakers here today. Aileen Clements is a member of the Wildflower Circle and at the Garden Club of Jacksonville. She's been a master gardener for more than 16 years. In that role, she helps conduct Florida-friendly yard reviews, which I would, if you have a yard and you want to be Florida friendly, she's the person to talk to about. That's really great. She writes a Master Gardener Volunteer newsletter. She's judged in many competitions, including the Greater Agricultural Fair Horticulture Show. That's a big mouthful, right? She's been a judge in flower shows and the home tour. Carol Costello is a member of the Heather Circle of the Garden Club of Jacksonville and serves on the Garden Club's Awards Committee. She has such a deep knowledge of gardening that even her email address is Special Garden Lover. Lord Baxter is the Empire Point Circle president and recently served on the Garden Club of Jacksonville Board of Trustees. Lauren has studied and trained to become a certified flower show judge and served as a judge in the 2023 horticulture. Oh, I'm going to point back to this. I was like about to point to something that wasn't there. Was a judge, as you can see from this last year. I thought it was being so cool, but that was kind of off. But anyway. Anyway, so if you have questions, we'd ask you to raise your hand because we are recording the program to go on our blog. So if you miss something, you don't need to take notes. You can just fast forward through it and find it on here. But please raise your hand. We'll repeat your question for the recording. And we ask you to take our survey. This QR code will be up at the end. Just scan it with your phone. It takes like 2 minutes. I swear, it's really easy. We just want to get your feedback. We use your feedback. I swear to God, we use it so much. All the programs that we're doing this year are based on feedback we got from last year's programs. So we really want to hear from you. All right, without further ado, I hand it over to Aileen and company. Take it away. Let's give them a big hand.
One thing that Denise didn't know was that Carol and her late husband Sam used to win all the blue ribbons at the show. They had it all down pat. They had them all ready. So she knows how to get ready for a flower show for sure. And this is my third time doing this, so this is kind of fun. Anyway, I want to start off with some handy dandy things that I like to use in the garden, just in case you don't know about them. This, I just showed it to Carol. She had not seen it before. It's a net thing. And you put it on when you're in the garden and it's hot as can be, and it has 3 speeds. And it'll run for most of the day on 1 charge. Really simple. I'll pass it around so you can try it. This little item I learned about when I was on a trip recently. I have bad reactions to wasp stings. So this is a little gizmo that you can put on the keychain or put by the back door, and you can put it in your phone. You've got to have the app in there, but it's real easy to download. And what happens is it shows you, if you can say whether it's a child that you want to get the sting out of, or whether it's an adult, and whether they're very sensitive or not. And it uses heat, not really, really hot. It's like 120 some degrees, but you put it right on the bite, and it does sort of alleviates it immediately. So this shows you've got short term, medium, and then long term. And then this was a child or an adult, and they told me to start out with, I've just gotten it myself. Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgot about it. Yeah, I'm a walker when I talk. Sorry, I'm a walker when I talk. But anyway, it has, all you have to do is just decide how long you want it to go and whether you're sensitive or not. And then you start it and it's heating up. And when it turns green, you've got that place on your, somebody like to be a guinea pig and feel it? It's really hey, never heard of something. I know it's that cool. Well, I'm assuming it's stripping and progress, and it's for a child, so.
Maybe you have to be stung.
Oh, see, I have been.
Yeah.
Does it work? Let me go. Yeah. Hello. So.
Everybody do some samples out of
It is warm, but it really does help. Yeah, let's see about it. So, anyway, it wasn't too expensive. And this was around $30. I like it so much I got 2, so I keep 2 of them charged all the time in case it runs out, but it'll run most of the day. The fan, and I'll pass it on to you. In this weather, it probably would be It's very helpful, believe me. So.
I use it for concerts, they're awesome.
We went to a restaurant recently and the lady run on the outside and then she wore that thing and she now gotta make sure to get it. Let's just turn it away. Get it released. What do you think? I want to share those things because that's a big help in that. Yeah. So. Okay, so what we're going to do with this portion of our show is talk a little bit about getting your plants ready for the fair. I brought this one, and it was kind of an interesting one. I had not even thought about it. This is the same plant. Does it look like the same plant? It does, but it's actually one plant that has most of the devil's backbone, which is what this is, are just green. This is kind of one that has been hybridized. And when you put them together, they tend to go back to the original. It's like a lot of your bulb plants. They're really pretty, the ones you get at Christmas. Anyway, no, not the bulbs. I think yes. And if you put those in, the red is the dominant color. If you put a pink near a red, it will end up red over time. So this one, I want to say, is pretty much ready. The pot is clean, which is one thing. You don't want to have a dirty pot. You don't want to have ants or bugs, you know, coming in or out. You want to make sure you take out the leaves. If you had it outside like I do, you got trash that's falling in. And I use these sticks, these skewers, to help a newly potted plant stand up straight. Once the roots are formed, it really is helpful. So you don't want to leave those in if you use those, but if you get all your leaves out and all the trash out.
Yeah, you don't want to leave those in there.
No, I would take those out before the show, but I'm not going to take them out this time. So there we go. And that one is ready. It's nicely formed. It's a good sized plant. And I hope Lauren would like it if she. Okay. And let me ask you about this. What do you think about this one? It's a succulent. It's a Calico, Ganja. I would say, well, they do flower. Really, this one's the leaves are they are outstanding. But it's juvenile. And if you ever grow them, they'll get huge. And so you want to hear a little bit, you know, data connection. But this is a nice one. It's easy to grow, and as with succulents, they're some of my favorites. I naturally use those a lot. You have a lot of succulents, Karen?
Oh, I have a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I had that one that's hanging by my front door I should have. Thank you.
All right, I've got a few more. What would you say I might need to do with this one? Trim it, okay. Got you some, these are kind of too big for that. I like the little ones. You got your little scissors. So you can, yeah, it's pretty pointy.
Yeah.
But if it's got anything on it like thorns, you want to use what Carol's got here.
Yeah.
Those are great to have.
These
They're
are great,
clean.
especially if you have cactus,
Mhm.
you've got leaves in there and debris, and you don't want to get picked. You just use that to pick them up.
And of course, wear gloves.
And I got
Working with cats.
yeah, the two different types.
Yeah. Yeah, these are gloves I would use with cactus, or maybe even rose gloves, which are leather and would keep you from getting all scratched up. I like these for just cleaning the plant up. If it's not a thorny plant, you know, it's easier to feel, easier to feel what you got there. So Carol, would you like to trim this one while she had that one? Now, I don't think I'd enter it in that pot either. Yeah, and it's gonna fall over for sure. It needs a more, maybe a pot that's a little bit more, has a bigger base on it, because that's gonna make it fall. It's so heavy, top heavy. So she's trimming that up, and we'll leave them out here for you to look at later. This one, this is one of my favorites. Yes, ma'am.
So those are nursery pots.
These are nursery pots, and a lot of people bring those in. But they don't make as big of, I don't know what the judges, but if you've got a nice pot, they're gonna look at that one a little more. But they're supposed to be judging just the plant. And they judge the plant, and she'll talk more about that in a minute, against itself, not against every other plant. And then you'll hear a little bit more about that. Well, this one's been out in the yard. It's got some of those stakes in it also. But it has a weed growing in it, so we pick the weed out. Heaven forbid my whole yard is weeds right now with all this rain. Oh, this is one of my favorites. It's called a starfish cactus. And it has the most gorgeous flower. The bud would be like this. It'll open up. And when it does, don't smell it too closely. It's meant to attract flies so that it gets the proper pollination. So this one grows, just by breaking a piece off. That's what I like about succulents. It's so easy to propagate. You can break it off and let it sit for a couple of days to harden off the edge and then put it in the soil, and it's good. And they don't require a lot of care. Water once a week or so. Anyway, I don't think I would put it in this pot. If I were going to put this one in the show, it's got obviously it had a piece broken off of it, and that would detract from it. Maybe if I could cut that, I would cut it off. Let me see if I can. But I think I'm going to put it in another pot if I decide. I've got a bigger one than this one. Yeah.
Actually, there's a show saying that you don't double pot.
Well, we saw that last year a little bit though. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. A double pot would be considered, if you took this one, let's say this was a lovely planter and you wanted to, and you put it in here, that would be double potted. And the only time you might do this is if you had a pot that was a show pot and it doesn't have a hole in the bottom. You don't want to put the plant in there. You might do that, but you want to make sure it's not showing. You shouldn't be able to tell it if it's in there. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So ways to clean the pot. Carol, you've got some things up there. I like vinegar and water. It'll get the mold off. It'll get the dirt off. And while it smells like a salad for a while, it doesn't last. And then she's chipping the ends. She's getting the ends that are kind of brownish off.
That are dry,
Yeah.
and just clip them off. These you just have to clip them off, because if it's, say like, what is that plant?
Which
You
one?
put it back over there,
Yeah, yeah.
bring it back up.
Okay. Did you see it better when I'm there? I didn't see it. You probably did.
Like if you, sometimes the plants will get brown edges.
Yes.
here, or the tip.
Mhm.
Well, my husband was really good.
It
at
was.
that. So, but you just don't cut it.
Well, go ahead and pretend like that one has a
Yeah.
bad tip on it.
So you're gonna have to do it, go the same way as the leaf is. So it looks
So it looks the same.
natural. Because if you don't do it that way, it doesn't look natural.
Well, you don't want to do that a week or two ahead of time. You want to do it a couple of days ahead of time, because
Yeah,
it's going to start to
right.
scab over
Yeah.
after a few days. And it
Yeah.
might not look so hot.
Right, and make sure you don't get any jagged edges on it or anything. like
And you can
that.
also take the leaf off if the
Right,
plant
and
is,
if it's really bad, yeah, you can't do anything with
Yeah.
it, you can't, like this one here has got,
now that's got I just take that one off, yeah.
yeah, I would just take that. this
That one has some damage either
Right.
from a bug or
Yeah.
just a tear or something from it. I'm not sure.
But,
Yes,
yeah, do it a couple of days before,
Yeah.
Because if you do it too soon, then they're gonna brown. And,
we got a question here.
If we're transplanting or transporting these and we bring them in and we have a leaf that broke in here, whatever, we can trim. when we
Yes,
bring them in,
bring your clippers,
put
yeah,
them in the exhibit. So we should bring scissors.
Yeah,
And all.
yeah. Bring your clippers. And again, I made the mistake of bringing in a plant that had ants in it a couple of years ago, and I didn't realize it until we put it on the table and they started streaming out. Oh, it was so embarrassing. So we had to take it out. You don't want anybody else to get those ants or disease or anything like that. So, what other questions would you have? Carol?
Another
Go ahead.
same thing, bringing them in, it says, the watering schedule. Can you talk about that? Because we should bring water and water them. I imagine you don't water.
It depends. It depends. I'm not sure what the fair does for the plants.
They will touch it.
They don't touch them.
You do
So-
not touch That's been placed by an exhibitor.
We don't touch it before judging.
Or just,
Yes.
So we will water it because there's 10 days of the fair. And I don't know about you, most of your plants will probably not do that well after 10 days without being watered. If you have specific instructions for watering, you need to bring those and place them with the plants so that we can follow those. Otherwise, we're gonna check the plants. Like, are you too dry? Are you too wet? And water them as needed. So, and just know that like, it's a stressful time for your plants being in the fair. It has a lot of people looking at it. It gets very stressful, but no, so just know that, 10 days later, your plant is gonna need a little TLC because it's, been through so much. You've transported it. It's been through 10 days of being inside. We do have lights that we put up, grow lights that try to help, but there's nothing that can really replace, the conditions that your plant has had before it got there.
And
So,
there's also a bar in front to prevent the people from
Correct.
touching your plant or
Correct.
trying to get a little clipping from
Exactly.
it. So anyway, let's
Yeah,
take good care. So Carol, I use water to wash the plant down and spray it on the leaves and make sure that there's no dust or anything on them. You can take a hose and do it before you come. And you can wipe it down if you wish, but you don't want it to have dirt on it. And a lot of my plants I put up under the bushes in the summertime. And so they will have leaves in there and they'll have weeds in there and so forth, but they're, yeah.
and I don't know, but I know when we were doing it for the garden club, is you don't put anything shiny on the
Yeah.
leaves. You just wash it with water or wipe them with water and clean them
Mhm.
so that all the dirt's off of them. And,
So you've got some
That's one
other,
of your rules.
no,
Oiling or dressing or foliage.
supposed to make it look shinier and prettier, but it's
because
it's not good
people-
for the plant.
Yeah, plants, they're real green and everything. They think, oh, they look so pretty, we're gonna polish it. No. no.
Don't do
That'll
that.
disqualify.
Not good for the plant, but you've got some other things up here.
Yeah, well, I use this to clean my pots, but I also put a bag over, a plastic bag all over the foliage. So this doesn't spray on, get on the foliage. But it's really good to take off any green stuff
Mold,
that's
yeah.
on your
Get the
pots and
mold off.
everything.
Yeah.
Because it takes it away. And just spray it, make sure you cover it completely with a plastic bag. And just leave it on there. Don't touch it, just leave it. And you go out the next morning and it'll all be gone. Yeah.
You might want to hose it down if it's
No,
particularly
you don't
dirty.
even have to
No?
hose it down.
Really?
No, you just spray it on here and
Okay.
just leave
And
it.
you drink your Coca-Cola while you're
And
doing
then
it?
the Coke is- it's good to clean battery acids. Well, it's also good to clean, and if you just put it on the sun, if you got like the patina that's on, clay pots, green and all that,
Yeah.
or whatever. And you just put all this coat all the way around, you sponge it all the way around. And it should take it off. I don't know how many applications it would take to do it, but you can also use this too. And
Well, that might attract ants. If you left it on there, do you rinse it off?
well, you can rinse it off.
That's a good one. Use Diet Coke, that's good. That's good.
I've heard about this, but
I've heard of it too.
yeah, and Sam had used it one time and it worked. Okay,
Mhm.
whether we had ants or not, I don't remember.
I remember, it was embarrassing.
But anyway, that's another thing. If you don't want to use this, you can try this, okay?
And I have a number of brushes that I keep close to my potting station to help clean them out. But we use these in the kitchen, and when they start to look a little ratty, we put them out there on the potting station, and these are really good at cleaning the pots. Really good. She's got one too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's got a scrubber so that if you do use this and, you go to the pot and you spread it. And you can rinse it off and everything.
Tell me why do you care?
What?
Why do you care how clean the pot is?
Well, you look at this and it's really pretty. It's got a nice clean pot and everything. Okay, I know sometimes some of the pots are outside and they're yucky looking, okay? Well, it takes away from the plant.
It detracts, yeah.
Might there also be a chance for other pots to catch something, like, you're trying to prevent like spread of, fungus and.
Yeah. Well, if it's got a fungus or something, you don't want to bring it in,
Yeah.
if it's got any kind
I
of
mean,
disease,
the
but yeah,
pot's not gonna
yeah,
be-
yeah, that's
right?
true, that's true.
Cause the pots sit out. They get dirty. and stuff like
So
that.
any questions? Because you're gonna be getting your plants ready. We've got, what, 2 months to go now, a little over 2 months. And yes.
I just want to go back to you talking about the little sticks that you were using. You should take those out.
Yes.
Now, what about, like a bromeliad, it's got like a heavy bloom at the top or whatever?
If it needs
Take
support,
this Stick out.
okay. If it needs support, I would ask the judge, what would be her,
I think you're not supposed to, the plant should stand on its own.
Yeah.
If you've ever, not every, really needs support, yet you would probably not want everyone that needed support. I know, I'm not terrible.
well, but with bromeliads, you can put them down in the pot. They want their food through the cup in the top. They have the roots just to hold them in the ground. I don't think they get a lot of water or nutrients from that. If you've got a plant that can sit on the pot and maybe dig some of the dirt out and let it sit down a little deeper and let the edge of the pot hold it for you, because I know they can get pretty big. And then if you've got a brack on top, it's going to really be heavy at the top. So, yeah.
What about staking orchid blooms? They're usually in state.
Yes,
orchid flowers.
yeah. For orchid blooms, you're going to see a little bit of everything. We'll show you some in a minute. If it requires that, yes, you can use that. You've got the little clips.
Yeah, they
Yep.
have the stake and whatever for the orchids to hold it up.
So you don't have to just let the flower flop.
No, you don't. We had a fellow for the last couple of years, he's brought in the hanging ones with the orchids just spewing down. It's just gorgeous. And I mean, that's one way to display it. You don't have to support it. You wouldn't want to with that particular type of orchid. But yeah, if it's normal that you would have it in there, yes, yes. I think it says something in here about if you, yeah.
So if it's a vine or a trellis or something, and that's its normal
yes.
way.
Is there an age requirement on it, like is it like a max height?
Well, that's when you're gonna read this again. And then, because sometimes on your, in your, I call it schedule, they will say no larger than 18 inches. And for instance, there was a guy, fabulous exhibitor at the fair, and he brought these plants like a ficus plant, but it was this big. Well, if that was a ficus, that can't compete. So then there's this class. I think he got really upset because then I didn't see but it was a house plant. All of his were this big.
But that's
It
like
was
a patio
amazing.
plant. There's a specific type of plant called a patio plant. It's in here, it is section J.
Okay,
So if it's really, really large.
so here
no
it
matter
is,
what
there's
kind it is, it's
36 inches,
it's gonna go-
more than
yeah.
36.
Yeah,
So some of them, if it doesn't say, you bring what you have.
we'll help you set it. Yes.
Like, does a person enter like 1 or 5 or?
There's no number. You
Okay.
cannot enter two from the same genus and species, but But there's so many that are in each category that if you've got them, bring them. We want lots of plants. Yeah, we want all your pretty plants to come in.
Well,
So you can
doesn't,
bring 5 varieties of bromeliads.
Yeah, sure, yeah, yes.
I mean, doesn't it like, some of the plants that are blooming, the ones that are
Oh,
not, that
yeah.
would be in a different category
Yes.
too?
Yeah, my favorite thing was, I have this orchid that grows in a hanging pot, and it's really got beautiful foliage. It's not the normal fleshy green leaf of an orchid. It's gorgeous. And I brought it in and I put it in with the orchids. Well, it wasn't blooming. So I should have put it in with foliage plants and not the orchid. If it's bloom, it doesn't bloom this time of year, it blooms during the spring. So if I bring that one in, it definitely go in foliage, not orchid. Yes.
Difference there too, blooming. If there's a section there that said something about if it's a plant that blooms, it's supposed to be bloomed when we bring it. But sometimes, you know, it's just not its time, so we shouldn't bring those plants at all.
If you're
Well,
entering in, if when you enter and you're looking at your section and then you're looking at your specifics, if it says, a lot of times it'll say foliage or it'll say flowering. And if it says flowering, it needs to be flowering.
Yes.
If it's silent to that and it's not its season, then it's still on a schedule, you can bring it.
Like
Because everybody else is in the same boat,
Yeah.
I guess, unless they have,
Well, like the orchid.
greenhouse.
The orchid was a nice foliage plant, but it wasn't blooming. So that's why I put it in there. So,
Well, if you've got a plant that is blooming now, but it's not in full bloom, get you some bloom. And just feed it, once or twice a week with it, maybe once a week. if you want.
not full strength, but once or twice.
Yeah, right,
Right.
and, no, I never follow direction.
That's why.
Yes. And Sam always said you're gonna kill that plant,
Kill it with kindness.
but anyway, this, yeah, and this will help it to, put out more flowers.
So one last thing, you have if you have a camera on your phone, you can identify and get the botanical name of almost any plant. All you do is take a picture of it. I'm gonna take a picture of this one. This is a.
But is it an app or is it a?
It's not an app. You take the picture of the flower and or the foliage. Come on. Can't tell if it did it or not. Yes, it did. Then you bring the picture up and down near the bottom. You have lens. So you hit the lens. And it'll go with you on the internet, it'll go onto the internet and it'll bring back what it thinks it is. And usually it's really accurate. And it may bring back more than one sample. And you have to kind of look at yours, exactly, it's more like this and that. And then you can pick up the genetic. So that's a big help on your sign again, they bring in and everything, and then it will be a big help.
We want to look at some samples from last year.
Yeah. Oh, does Lauren have any more to say about the judging though?
Well, I mean, this is what these pictures are of,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, share.
And this, is this the entry tag?
All right, so this is the judging from last year, and these are some of the judges that did the judging last year. This is what it looks like when they're judging. That's your plant, yeah. So
Volunteers.
they do look very carefully at every single plant. So if you're worried that your plant's just gonna get completely looked over, that is not the case. They inspect them very carefully. And so I don't know if you want to go through the juniors and talk about them.
Yeah, if you've got grandchildren or neighbor children, are interested in growing plants or interested in maybe growing some vegetables or some herbs, they're welcome to enter and they can win prizes as well. We'll talk about the prizes that are available.
So these are some of the junior plants that won various prizes. And then there were some mega awards. So the sweepstakes award, which is the most blue ribbons. So this is the most blue ribbons for a junior, and award of merit, which is a judge's award. What's this plant? And then junior best of show, which is a judge's award, and the sweepstakes runner-up, which is the second most number of blue ribbons. Was this guy, which is really cool, like double. And then we get into the regular adult competition. And we do have one of the star, so Christine here is from the fair. She also enters the fair. She is a star grower of African violets. So if nothing else, go and look at her African violets because they are pretty amazing.
Beautiful. So we're going to show you an example of each of the categories. If you want to look at that while we go through, it'll be in that order, starting with.
Yeah, so just Nereids were first.
Schedule. And that first one was the African violets. And the next one is begonias. So this was, I thought, an outstanding example. Look at the leaves are huge. Begonias will get big, but most of them are smaller leaves. So that I thought that was an interesting, and as you can see, it's a hanging plant. So the next one were the ferns. We didn't have very many ferns at all. That's a foxtail. You know that the other side of that, the regular fern like this, the one that everybody has, is considered invasive. This is the one you want instead. Yeah, it comes up everywhere if you've got it. Okay, so the next is succulents. And the first on that was the cat. This was the most interesting cacti. Look at that. Beautiful cactus. Looks like it's a cactus. Yes, it is a cactus. That was in the cactus category. And you can see all around it, there are other beautiful examples. Okay, then we had euphorbias, which is what this one is. And that one was also a euphorbia, yes, on that one. The cucumber, okay. Kind of like a cucumber plant. Yeah. Bromeliads, those are gorgeous. The leaves on some bromeliads are just outstanding. This one just happened to have the what they call a bloom. It's not actually a bloom, but it's gorgeous, just gorgeous. And that's hers. And orchids, we had this, look at that. I mean, does that take your breath away? Just gorgeous. I wonder if they didn't get a better award than just the bloom. Well, it all depends on you know how the judges are looking at things that day. Plants growing on wood, and of course, usually you get the staghorn fern.
I think we only have one last year.
Only one.
We've got something growing on wood. Bring it in.
Right. You can do lots of succulents that way. All right, the next one was special container plants. Oh, was that the, yeah. And this one we thought was especially cute. I think I have this little character in my garden. He's, you know, he's waiting for the birds to land on the bird bath. And yeah, it's really a cute one, but that one went blue. Then patio plants are the next ones. These are the ones that could be any type, but they're just big. This was a huge one, probably about this tall. And it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. Okay, edibles. Now this is where a lot of times the children, but if you've got the pecan tree, or you've got some sort of a fruit tree that's bearing during that time, a lot of the oranges are coming in about November. So these were some peppers that were entered, got a blue ribbon. They're beautiful. This was a pineapple. Why do you think it got the red ribbon instead of blue? Because the leaves are. Well, yeah, no fruit. That's mainly, the leaves could have been trimmed a little bit, but there's no pineapple. That's right. And you're lucky you can get the pineapple at that time, for
Right,
sure.
but if the leaves were cleaned up, it probably got a little
Might have.
fine, yeah. It
But
all depends.
It's a vermilion, it's in the vermilion.
It all depends on what it's competing with.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we got the hydroponically, and these were we only had a couple of these, and they were gorgeous. These are different, like lady slippers, and the ones that eat the insects, the
Venus fly.
Venus flytrap. This one is the pitcher plant. They go down in the pitcher plant and it top closes on them, and they're
Shout out, we do have a children's program, Budding Gardeners, that's once a month. The October program is on carnivorous plants, and the man who won these awards will be doing the program that day. So if you have children or grandchildren, make sure you sign up for that.
Especially boys.
yeah, they like the carnivorous ones too. Okay, so all the other blooming plants, which can be anything. We call that one a flamingo plant. Because it looks like a flamingo, but it's actually, hold on a minute, I want to make sure. Pink Brazilian plume, justicia. That's what it is, a justicia plant. I have tried to grow those in the yard. I don't have much luck with it. I think they're better off in a pot, so you can protect them. Yeah. Well, I live near the water, so it's also kind of salty.
I've got one that's orange.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
huge.
Yep. Okay, I think this one was a rattlesnake plant.
Mhm.
Just gorgeous. Big foliage.
I think that was
Nicely-
Christine's too.
She's coming back this year. Bigger.
She's even bigger.
Yeah.
Was this one yours too, Christine?
No.
Okay. This is also, what's the name of that one? What is it? Calicoche. Yep.
All right, some of the
Now,
top
these are
awards.
the top awards that won the judges or the most blue ribbons, those kinds of things. This is what was this?
Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes. So.
Most
that
blue
one was
ribbons.
The most blue ribbons. And runner up. Well, I think most of the African violets were yours, weren't they? Many of them were.
Give her some competition, folks.
Competition, yeah. People's Choice is the one that's voted on by people who come to the show. And this got also awarded merit. This is the orchid. Yeah. Oh, that's the one that hung up there. And look at it. I mean, it's just amazing. Just amazing. Best of show. That was voted by the judges out of all of them. They go back and then they fight it for it.
And it's also take all the blues
Yes,
and decide which of all the blues
yes.
just.
Right.
There were just, yeah.
So there are also several big money prizes. So several sponsors that Christine has worked with are doing $200 prizes. The owners of those businesses get to pick who those winners are. But they look at every single plant and they choose. So last year, or a plant studio, who I believe is coming back this year, are they? Yes. Was this plant, a beautiful patio plant. And Liberty Landscape, they're coming back again this year. This is a garden club member, Gloria Salmon. A very cool plant. Ponytail,
Ponytail.
yeah. And then Lush Leaves, they're not coming back this year, no. But the carnivorous plant man, as we like to call him. And Standard Feed and Seed, they're coming back, so another one of these beautiful orchids. I think he had 3 or 4. All right, so now I'm going to tell you a little bit about other parts of the show. So the Garden Club has a beautiful booth that is there, and we have 2 sponsors, Procter Ace Hardware on University Boulevard and Wild Birds Unlimited. Here's some of the things that we had last year. It's a beautiful booth. We invite you to come and hang out. Look at all the plants that are there. Wild Birds Unlimited has lots of really cool bird feeders on display. We have cornhole for you to play and giant Jenga and a little place to sit down on some great patio furniture. So we hope you will come and hang out with us while you go visit the fair, all the plants in the Horticulture Show. Play a little cornhole. You already have the call for entries. Please use that. It is, we've worked hard on that and made it better every year, I think, to really get it as, rock solid document as possible. So that is your Bible for this show. So please use that. Also want to point out, so when you get to the to drop off your plants, we're going to give you some cards here and you're going to fill them out. So there's a place to put the section letter, which corresponds to the call for entries, and the section name, and then the variety of plants. So that's where you want to make sure that you know what kind of plant is that you're entering. There's a place for you to put your name and address and phone number. And then we're going to, don't you do it, but we're going to tear it off and keep that. And then we're going to give you a little ticket. That's your coupon that basically says this plant is mine. All right. We haven't really had any problems with plants disappearing. I think we have one that was taken in the past, but so, don't worry about that. That's not, but just know that we always have somebody on staff who's watching the plants that gets locked up every night. So your plants will be safe and taken care of. So anyway, so we're gonna ask you to fill this out. There's a place on the back where when the judging happens, if they have comments, they're gonna put those there. And usually it's
Doesn't get a blue ribbon.
right.
They put comments on.
So if it's blue, there's really nothing else to say except, hey, great work. If it's less than that, then they'll put some comments about things that will help you do better next time. But there's money for every one of those ribbons that you get, which is great. There's money for the audience participation award, audience favorite award. So everybody votes for that all week. And then we pick, we tally all the votes and there's a winner that comes out of that. There's the big money awards that are $200 each from all the sponsors. And I believe there's 6 this year. So $1,200 worth of just those 6 awards, which is great. And that's on top of all the awards. And Christine, I should have introduced her at the beginning. Christine Marr is our representative from the fair. She's our partner. She's the one who asked the Garden Club several years ago to be part of this process. We're so happy that that happened. She brought all this cool merch, sockets that she brought. Let me throw it at you. The cool chip clips and pins. So take some of those home with you, hand them out. And then there's also this documents that you can pick up on the way out. It talks about not only the horticulture competition, but the other things that are in that building. There is a really cool trash art competition. So if you know an artist who likes to make art out of materials that usually get thrown away, this is the thing for you. My own daughter won an award a couple of years ago. There's big money in that competition as well. So I think she won $800 that year. Yeah, first place, right? So yeah, $800 for first place, second place, $300, third place wins $100 still. So that's pretty cool. And the artwork has gotten more and more amazing each year. It's been cool. So that's a cool thing to check out there. There's a mixed media competition and there's a welding sculpture competition. So no matter what your jive is, whatever you like to do, there's something that you can enter. Obviously there's all the regular animal things are in the neighboring barn, but the Horticulture Show and its cousins have lots of entries too. So we'll keep you over on our side. Yeah.
One of them is that it's not just one blue ribbon in each section. Every plant is judged on its own merit. Every plant in a section can win a blue ribbon, okay? So as long as your plant is looking really good, the chances are you'll get a blue ribbon. Christine brought maps today to show you where. She's gonna put them on the way out. It has the diagram, the yellow is where you go between these buildings. You can park there, take your plants in, and this is good to have because it can be confusing down there. That's actually a one-way street that you have to turn around and go the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing was, I wanted to mention some of the other people, the other groups or not groups, the other, companies that are participating in the $200. I think we mentioned Liberty Landscape, Standard Feed and Seed, Aura Plant Studio, By Love Designs. Are you familiar with it? It's not in there. These have been added since then. If you go down to the bottom of the Standard Seed and Feed is the last one mentioned, but Aura Plant Studio, By Love Designs, Boozy Sweets, Crafty AF, Jelly Gang Jelly? Yeah,
Jelly
jelly.
bean jelly, yep.
That's an interesting. Is that a plant
There-
store?
No.
Oh,
She's gonna be at the fair this year,
Oh,
and
okay.
we pickled veggies,
Oh,
jams, and
okay.
jellies,
Okay,
and she's sponsoring. a
that's
group.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And Truck Girl Treats.
Chef Girl, she, yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity to win some big bucks there with
That's
your
right.
plants. So, and they choose it. They'll see the blue ribbons, they'll see red ribbons. They might pick one that's a red ribbon because they like it more.
That's right.
So I just wanted you to know that, and the money is for the blue ribbons, it's $3, and then red is $2 and white is $1. And then the other group awards are a little bit higher,
Yeah.
25.
So yeah, it's worth your time to enter. The directions to the place where you enter is very helpful. You could drive right up there. You don't have to park far away. You can go, and if you've got a trailer full of plants, even better. You can load it right in. We've got some hand trucks that'll help you do that. We've got volunteers there to help out. So please do it. And then you'll also, and wait, there's more. After the fair, really almost immediately after the fair ends, we're going to come back on November 19th and do a winter circle program where you can see the results of that year's fair and all the winners and talk about what made them stand out. And we hope that you all join us for that as well. Other questions for our panel?
Yeah, what are your questions?
Kids, I have a plant that has really long aerial roots. What are your,
Oh, well, if that's the plan. So when I get an assignment, so they're gonna come and they're gonna say panel of 3 judges, so you're never just by yourself. You can't know all of this stuff. If I get an assignment, I'm going to look it up. I'm going on the internet. I'm going to start educating myself because we don't know all of these plants. You know your plant, but I don't. So I'm gonna go on the internet. I'm gonna look at these plant snaps, whatever, and try and get an idea of what the standard is. And then I will look at your plant after that. So if no other plant that I research has any aerial, then it would be hard for me to figure that out. But if everything else is beautiful, and if there are 2 plants, 2 aloe plants, 3 aloe plants, and they're all the same size, that's when you get really, really picky. But most of the time, we don't want to be all that picky. But if we have to, you have to. Like, I'm sure you do African violets. So, I mean, people have to just get crazy picky, I'm sure, if you have 2 of the same.
But those
So,
aerial roots, if you notice the picture of the orchid that was hanging, you see those aerial, those are some long ones.
Yeah.
If the plant normally has them,
Yeah, that's natural.
it's natural, you don't have to worry. Don't cut them off.
Right, it's natural, but if it's not natural, then
Other questions? Yes.
Couple of questions. I guess the first off, I was wondering if you could kind of go a little bit more detail on specifically the section, the differences between sections I, J, and 10. Especially in plants, patio plants, and all their foliage plants. Is it all based on size, or how are you determining what the differences between those 3 categories?
Well, the difference there, they must be less than 18 inches in diameter. Top.
Right, for the first one. So,
And then J, the patio plants would be more than that.
well, that's more than 36 inches tall.
Yes.
Does that have anything to do with the pot
Well,
size?
the pots are probably going to be larger because
Right.
you've got a bigger plant. If it's a 36, I mean, that's 3 feet. And some of them come in a lot taller than that.
So
So
basically, if it's larger than 18 inches, it needs to go into section N.
probably,
Is
yes.
that kind of the difference that I'm seeing.
Section
Okay.
M, blooming plant, wait a minute. Going to section M or N, right, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other question would be, are you scoring based on container as well, aesthetics of the container, does it matter if it's in the nursery part?
So,
You just spent $300 to buy a nice.
Oh,
blade?
please don't do that. Please don't do that.
So if you're, the plant should be dominant. So you can bring me your most beautiful pot and plant, but if I'm looking at the pot, you know, so you want to go neutral on the pot. Make the focus your plant. And that's why you do all of the cleaning, et cetera, but, yeah, you want to go as neutral as you can on the pots.
Would you say that if the pot is a nursery pot, but you cleaned it, it looks as presentable as possible? I mean, because if it's a big pot and you don't want to spend a lot of
Yeah,
money
yeah,
on
exactly.
a large pot, right?
Yeah.
It's just like. it's not-
All things, if I had two plants side by side, and one was in a regular pot, and one was in a nursery, all things being equal, that nice container is going to win over it. So again, it's like, who's entering, what's your show, who are your other participants? What I've been studying is about flower shows, and that's it just adds another kind of formality. And in the agricultural fair, it's just opened up and more, almost more reasonable, if you will.
It's not as
more-
strict, let's put it that way, it's
Yeah.
not as strict.
Right.
But like the special container plants, we have heads with stuff coming out of it, or when you saw the cat with the snorkeling gear on waiting for the bird. If you have something like that, you would enter it in section I. And a lot of people have those cute containers. If that's what you want to enter it in, then that you can. But you can also put a planter like that in a different.
Yeah, and I put up an example of a patio plant
Yes,
in a pot, so it's not like a fancy pot, but it is a large pot that's not a nursery pot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And there are some things you can do to finish off your plants. You can put pea gravel on the top if it's kind of, if a little bit of soil wouldn't look, right, you can put some pea gravel. I've heard people put cat litter, just something uniform.
but
Something,
wouldn't that soak up all the
I
water?
don't know,
Yeah, especially with
Yeah.
succulents, you tend to see it a lot with succulents for sure, yeah. So, yeah, that's good. Anything else?
He's talking about height limits, just in section J, bigger than 36. If I have a wall to begonia, then it go in the begonia, or is it limited in size? It doesn't say anything about size requirements and anything in the rules.
Yeah, so if your specific section doesn't have a rule about its size,
It'd
you
be
could do either.
You could
put it,
choose, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
if you think it's better to compete against other patio plants, or if it's better to compete against other begonias, that's up to you.
but if they came in and it was 6 begonias and one was this big, the judges can ask that it be subdivided so that you move those plants out so that you are judging like to like and not, call patio plant your tabletop.
Yeah, I think that most of that is based to help the people who are entering, like whenever they ask for those kinds of things, it's to make sure that your plant is getting shown in the best light possible, in the best competition possible. And really, like, again, like Eileen said, your plant is being judged against itself, right? Like, is this the best version of that plant? And, is it a blue ribbon, right? And so forth. So, it's not really necessarily being judged against others, but it is hard to remove that completely from your vision, when you're doing that.
And if you have a plant like this, you would like now plant it and center it and,
Yeah.
do all you can. for this little
Yeah,
thing.
don't repot it the day before the show, because if it turns over, all that soil is gonna fall out, because the roots aren't holding it together. Well, that was when I put it in. That was for sale at another plant sale, the Master Gardener plant sale, that's in the spring. Any other questions?
All right, can we give our panel a big round of applause? Please, please enter your plants. You can go on our website. There's a place where you can pre-register so that we know you're coming. We'll send you a reminder a couple days before the entries start, which is November 4th and 5th. Judging will take place on November 6th. Nobody who's entered their plants are allowed to be on the floor during judging. Then we will get those results out as quickly as we possibly can. We shoot photos of everything. We put it up on our blog so that you can see those results. Come and visit your plant, show it off to all of your friends. And please come to the Winter Circle after the fair, which is November 19th. Please, please, please take our survey, scan it and take a survey. Let us know how we did. Yes.
For the entry cards, where do you get the entry cards?
You'll get it when you come to bring your plants in. Yeah.
Okay, but you can't get them before that.
No, because what happens a lot is if we were to hand them out, people fill them out and take them home and then they never come back with their plants.
These particular ones are numbered.
They're numbered, yeah, that's a control.
In a show that isn't numbered, you could put. So you're gonna want to make note of the section and the variety. You've got your genus and species and, put those down because if it's something more formal, you're gonna have to put that down. And you take points, so I think it's something.
About the judging again, so is that just taking place on the 6th or is it the 6th through the 17th?
No, it's on the 6th. So your
Yeah.
plants will be judged in their best condition possible.
That was my, so if you
Yes.
have a blooming plant, no, it's not, it's got blooms for a day.
Right.
It's going inside, it's probably gonna drop, all that's.
Yeah, if you bring it in the night before, it's gonna get judged the next afternoon.
Got
So, yeah.
I think relate, but obvious question, but
Yeah.
it's free to enter, right?
Of course. Yeah.
That's the important question.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a secret
Now,
about,
entry to the fair, you can place your plant, and then what happens to people who wanna come to see their plant? You have to have a fair ticket if you're not picking your plant up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so admission to the fair is not free. There's a cost. There are many days where there's big, deep discounts. So check out the website, please look for those. But to pick up your plant, you can pick it up on that Sunday, the 17th after 6 p.m. or on Monday morning, the 18th, before noon. So usually like 9 to noon.
It's pull up the same way up Beaver Street that you drop off a plant and just tell the guard on the gate, you're here to pick up a plant and go swing you on through. And you won't have to have a ticket or anything like that.
And all that information is on here. Goodbye. Use it.
I was gonna tell you a secret. Can't tell anybody else. Big pots at TJ Maxx, Ross and Marshall's run into $25 to $35 range, go anywhere else for 75 and up. But that's in January and February. So don't tell anybody else.
Everyone's Hollies.
What?
Hollies.
Hollies?
Hollies.
Oh, Holly will have the
Hollies,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
$10.
Yeah. I'm talking the big,
Now, there's a pot, the Mexican pots that are so bright and colorful.
Yeah, right.
Yes, they do, but I'm just saying, as an example, I would maybe gravitate to that for my house, but maybe not for Chris.
Right, yeah, because that pot takes away from the plant.
Okay. Any others? Last minute questions?
We've got a plant place, it's a nursery on Fort Carolyn.
Okay.
Yeah, Fort Carolyn. They often have big pots in their variants. See them for like $15, $20.
And I think Earthworks puts them on sale half price after the season has gotten a little bit further.
I think there's one place on, Beach Boulevard that has their costs 50% off right now.
Really?
The one for the beach.
Plant ranch on the right?
Plant Ranch, the other one's on the left.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Holidays.
Earthworks. They do have it on sale now? Yeah, because they're gonna have full price.
Can we pick up our plants early, or do we have to come up on Sundays?
Can you pick them up before 6 p.m. on Sunday, or, yeah, find that they need to on Sunday.
Well, hope to see y'all later.
Thank you. I think we get
We're going to celebrate our wins, right?
Sorry.
Stop by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see you.
I.